What's up, guys?
Attractive. However, there was one girl who messaged me first. Her name was Michelle. She was a 23-year-old blonde. She was a solid 9 out of 10, almost unrealistically attractive. So the fact that she said hey first was pretty intoxicating, and I was a little intoxicated quite literally already. She was close, too. And eventually things were going so smoothly that I decided to try and be ballsy and turn the conversation sexual. That went smoothly as well. So I escalated things even more by getting her number, and then texting her to try and set something up that same night. To my surprise and delight, she seemed really willing, but she wanted to meet out somewhere and hang out first before going back to her place. I was fine with that, and so she seemed to take charge and set up a time and place to meet. She said she wanted to hang in a small park by her house first at 10 o'clock. It was a little odd, but I was down. I literally counted the minutes until around 9:45 when I decided it was time to leave. Before leaving, I sent a quick confirmation text, and she said she was still down to meet. The drive to this small residential park was maybe 10 minutes, so I got there a little early. I walked over to the swing set, the exact point where she wanted to meet. I didn't want to let her know I was early, because I thought that might make me seem needy or anxious, so I waited until exactly 10:02 on the dot to text her saying I was there. This was when she stopped responding. 10:05, 10:10, sitting there waiting with no response. Of course, at first I figured she was driving and couldn't check her phone, but as the minutes passed, that idea started to become less realistic, and the idea that she flaked was becoming more realistic. The playground area was surrounded by trees. In fact, this whole park was very woodsy, and having been a weeknight, nobody was out and about at this time. So honestly, it was kind of creepy sitting in that park alone. The only reason I could see was because of the motion detecting light mounted onto the small bathroom shack. In one direction, the park turned to complete woods for miles, while in the other direction, beyond a few trees, was the neighborhood road. I was sitting on the swing, pushing back and forth with boredom and disappointment. When I froze, the sounds of the squeaky metal swing chain stopped, allowing me to hear something echo out from the little bathroom shack. It sounded like, a typical sound you'd expect to hear from inside one of those bathrooms. Like somebody pressing down on the handle of the paper towel dispenser, or something like that. What I'm trying to say, it sounded intentional, meaning someone might have been in there. Now this wouldn't be a completely strange thing. After all, it's a public park. Only I would have thought that they would lock the bathrooms up at this hour. And who else would actually be in this tiny park at 10:15 on a weeknight? Then I suddenly felt a vibration in my pocket. So excited, I whipped out the phone and saw a new text from Michelle. The text said exactly this. Hey, just got here. Come into the bathroom. I have a surprise for you.
No, you're not.
My heart
You're
dropped
not
as I read this.
going to the
I
bathroom.
felt butterflies in
Why
my
can't you
stomach.
get out there?
Not like an innocent nervousness, more like a disturbed, freaked out feeling. My thumbs were hovering over the phone as I was conjuring up something to type in response. Then she sent another text saying, get off the swing and come here.
No, you get out the bathroom and come in. I'm
Up
leaving.
to the tiny bathroom building, and opened my mouth, almost ready to scream when I saw half of the person's face peering out from the entrance from one of the bathrooms, leering over to me on the swing. Only for maybe half a second did I actually see a good portion of their face though, because they slowly moved out of sight. To be honest, in the heat of the moment, I couldn't even tell if it was a male or female. But I knew something bad was going on, and I knew I was disturbed as hell by the situation. So I got off the swing quietly and tiptoed away from the playground. When I was far enough away, I ran for it back to my car. That run back to my car itself was one of the most horrific experiences of my life, because I had the constant fear of somebody chasing me in the back of my mind. As soon as I locked my car, I was able to pause for a breather. But up until that point, nothing compared to the gut-wrenching fear that I felt when I took one last look into the park and saw a grown man emerge from the trees, running towards my car. I turned the key in the ignition and practically threw the car in drive before it was even fully started. When I was halfway down the road and looked back, there was nobody in the streets. When I pulled into my driveway, I sat there for 10 minutes, thinking and reflecting. I felt like I had become a changed person at that moment, like I knew what it truly felt like to appreciate life after having my life threatened. I deleted my Tinder account and then deleted the app. I didn't tell any of my family members besides my older brother. I've had a girlfriend for the past 2 months, so luckily I don't even have to think about using that app anymore.
That's the end of part 2 of Mr. Nightmare.